hope and pray all is well. Let me fix my seat because sometimes I can be leaning back and all that. But I just wanted to do a quick live here um, about the whole Charlie Kirk situation. First, I want to start off by saying that um, I don't condone violence. I don't condone, uh, things like this, as far as shootings and things along that line. So I want to make sure you guys are clear. Again, I don't condone violence, especially when we start dealing with gun violence and things along this line. So I want to preface my thoughts starting with that. But I want to make it clear, uh, let's not behave that uh, this individual was a good person, at least for our community. I made a post about this situation with, showing an image of Charlie Kirk and, with him, a comment that he made about George Floyd, right? He called him a scumbag. And he did a number of speeches about George Floyd. And not just George Floyd, but our entire community. He made a lot of racist comments about our community. And so, in one breath, many want to say that uh, we should be concerned and praying and all this other stuff, or being mindful that he left behind a wife and children. But my question to you is, was he conscientious of George Floyd leaving behind a daughter who had to see on the news, on social media, you name it, comments stating that he wasn't murdered, comments stating that he was overweight, and maybe that's what caused him to not be able to breathe when the cop had the knee to his neck. All kinds of things that was very, very, very hurtful things, to the point that Stephen Jackson had to speak out against it. A man that was murdered in cold blood, suffocated. Well, not suffocated, what they call it, what's the other term? I can't think of it off the top of my head, but, a knee to his neck, the back of his neck, and he said he couldn't breathe for several minutes. Actually, I think it lasted for 10 minutes. I'm going to say to many of those that are in our community that call yourselves Christians, Charlie Kirk is supposedly a Christian. And yet he was saying all kinds of, asphyxiated, that's what I was looking for, that word. Um, he, under the Christian title, he made a lot of comments about our community, racial comments, racist comments about our community. Making it clear he didn't feel no empathy, even with his discussion about reparations, all the things that we've been subjected to. He had no empathy for all the things that we had to deal with as a people. And basically rebranding things of our struggles and packaging it into the so-called white struggle, white suppression. Again, I don't condone violence, but you're not going to tell me that I have to be mindful of someone that I know was not a good person, at least for our community. This is where that Stockholm syndrome kicks in. This is where the cognitive dissonance kicked in, especially for us as Negroes. That, you know, when something happened, especially to Massa, all of a sudden, let's pray for Massa. After Massa had a history of enslaving your entire family, raping your daughters, in many cases your son, bug breaking your dad, or bug breaking your brother, all these different things. But then we have this mindset, this thing that we was programmed to through religion, to try to make a comparison. Because in the comments, you guys can see it. I had to remove some of them because it was very ugly. They said, "Hey, well, George Floyd was a bad person. What makes Charlie Kirk a good person? What's the criteria? What's the baseline of what makes a person a good person?" Right? What makes him a good person? Right? And I want you guys to make sure you this Twister Chaser. Because see, Twister Chaser, see, when you make comments like that, like "I'm next," don't think you can hide your behind a fake screen name. I can find out who you are. Your fake screen name is attached to a YouTube account. Your YouTube account, whether you on your phone or not, you have what is called the IP address. That is your signature. And I can find out who you are. I have knocks coming to your door. So I'm not hard to find. So I want you guys to take a screenshot of what this person pointed out. See, this is the evil that I'm talking about. See, when you have, for those that are scared to comment on the situation, that's up to you. But I'm not afraid to talk about the truth. I'm not afraid of you and no one. So I want to make it clear, you know, and you see the trolls coming in. Moderators, just go ahead and you guys know what to do. Don't even let these people post anything in here. Right? Just go ahead and just remove them. Don't leave that one here by this threat the person posted in that I'm next. Keep that one in there. Don't remove that one. Don't pray for me. My mindset is correct. TF, happy place. Pray for yourself because your mindset is off. And I'm going to make it clear. Charlie Kirk was a racist. That's a fact. That's a fact. And I'm not mourning over him. Now, of course, he left behind children. You know, you're going to always have concern for the innocent. But there was, in terms of the things that he said about my community, yeah, I got issues with it. He don't deserve to be executed. No, he don't deserve that. But I want to make this clear, family. I'm not going to sit here and behave as if he was like we see that's being painted as if he was this national figure. United States presidents, Barack Obama and Biden, and made all kinds of acknowledgments. Cuomo up in New York, the comments that he made in his regards. Chris Cuomo, said that, hey, said he made a major impact and all this other stuff. Hey, you're entitled to it. He said he was really good for the community. Good for whose community? Good for whose community? See, family, we just have to be mindful of what's going on. And you don't have to allow anyone to make it so that way you feel like you can't say anything. That if you say something towards someone after they have passed away, knowing that they have said some things, did things that was wrong, that you have to bite your tongue. I know that there's a time and place for everything, rightfully so, and I agree. There's a time and place for everything. But you're not going to superimpose on me, that I have to be in a state of mourning. That's just not going to happen. You can't insult my community and expect me to be mourning. No, that's not going to happen. Again, unfortunate situation. I don't condone gun violence at all. At all. I don't condone violence at all, unless there's circumstances of self-defense or you protecting your family. The tragic thing about this is because, yes, his family, they get to see, and this is where you start getting into the downside of social media. His family get to see, if they were not there, the videos that are being circulated about his assassination. I don't agree with it. It you know, even though I don't agree with his rhetoric, his racism, redefining slavery and all those different things, but I don't condone him being gunned down in cold blood like that. Anyone, for that matter. Because I'm one of those, I grew up old school. If you have something to say it to the person's face. Go to that person. Handle things that way. Now, I will say that video, I was like, wow. And I couldn't believe that it's on social media. It's not being restricted. It doesn't even have an age restriction on the video itself. No age restriction on it. I could go into the racist quote, starting with how he redefined slavery, referring to slavery as immigration. I could go into some of the things that he said about even reparations, even saying how we're making insinuations about our community being lazy. I could even talk about the gun violence, the violence that he said about our community. Don't post anything here unless you know who I am. Come on now. You quote. So, like I said, moderators, they're trolling. They are trolling. They are trolling. But let's start with the quote that he called George Floyd a scumbag. Okay, address that. A man that had died, that was murdered on the streets, he called him a scumbag. And he went to different universities reiterating that he's a scumbag. Now what? Was he right for saying that? See, that's what the point that I'm making. See, these racist guys that are trolling. See what I mean? Died of a drug over all these different craziness. See, that contributes to what Charlie Kirk has done. You guys said that some of you trolls saying he died of a drug overdose. That's from Charlie Kirk. That's some of the things that he was saying. He was on drugs. He was overweight. Come on, family. Those are all talking points that he made up about George Floyd. So basically what you're saying is, some of you racist guys that are trolling, that because George Floyd, in your mind, was a Scumbag. He deserved to be murdered in broad daylight by a police officer with his knee to the back of his neck. Yeah, that's my point. That's my point. That's my point. That's my point. So what makes give Charlie Kirk the right to call him a scumbag? You guys ain't see nothing about him calling him a scumbag, did you? So that's my point, family. That's my point. That's my point. That's the sad thing about it. See, when it comes to our community, the double standards. See, that's the proof when you start looking at how media package things. Media, when it comes to a Negro in this country, media, when we're murdered, they always want to demonize the victim, but victimize the perpetrator. See, these trolls are proving my point. Even though an innocent man was murdered by a police officer, you want to say he died of a heart attack. Murdered. We don't even have to just deal with him. We could deal with Breonna Taylor. We could deal with it. We could talk about a number of people. Even Trayvon Martin. Matter of fact, we could talk about the person, the lady that used the N-word to a kid. What happened? The Christian community raised almost $1 million for her. We could talk about Ahmaud Arbery, who was gunned down as an animal in the street. And he was demonized. But what did the Christian church do for the perpetrators? They raised almost $700,000 for that person. Come on, family. Come on, family. And I'll say the same thing. If it was anyone from my community that did something wrong, guess what? I'll talk about it. See, family, this is what happens with situations like this. Yeah, you want to call me a racist? Not a shred of proof. Because I'm saying something about Charlie Kirk? No, I'm not a racist. Not a shred of proof of that. Not a shred of proof of that. But with that being said, family, for those that are watching, look at the comment section. They trolling big time. Big time. Big time. Big time. So that's the point I wanted to make, family. And I'll say it again. I don't condone violence. I don't condone the situation in terms of someone being murdered the way he was murdered, assassinated. I don't agree with that. Unfortunately, we live in a dangerous climate right now. You have politicians being shot, beat up, all kinds of things on both sides of the aisle. But this is the culture that we live in now because of people not understanding that when you say certain things and put certain things in the atmosphere, it's going to stir up certain behaviors. And guess what, family? When you see the chat, this is proof to what I'm saying. Even some people posting death threats to what I'm saying. Come on, family. Come on, family. So I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to keep talking. And I'm going to speak up for what's right and what's wrong. So with that being said, family, again, let this be a lesson to what you see in the chat. This lets you know that we are way out. We're not where we think we are as a people at all. This proves that we got a long way to go. Especially when we got these racist trolls that are that will be quick to say that George Floyd was a scumbag and come up with all kinds of what you call it, all kinds of junk doctrine to say that he died of a heart attack. That's not what the medical reports say. That's not what happened on the screen. But I'm using that as an example. Both Charlie Kirk was murdered, George Floyd was murdered, but look at how one is being handled versus the other. This shows just how bad things are. But nevertheless, family, appreciate you. Talk to you guys later. All right, have a good one. I'll be online later on this weekend. And if any one of you guys are trolling that want to jump on my live, feel free to do so. And we can have a discussion. And I'll come with the receipts, the quotes. With that being said, have a good one, family. Shalom.